So I looked at my thumb and I looked at my paper and I thought, this is a teaching opportunity. I'm celebrating World Watercolor Month with a new video every day in July. I feel like lately my biggest battle, over the last few years, I think my biggest struggle, or the thing I notice and work to change all the time, is the fight against boredom. Because after painting for many years, I find I can predictably do many things the same way over and over again. But that's not very creative, is it? And so I've noticed that a goal for me is always to find ways to shake things up and do something different. I love having strategies that I can rely on, but I also know that when I'm just working within my realm of knowledge and my current skill set, that my art is going to lack that air of surprise, excitement that comes from that is really, I think, at the root of creativity. If I want to have a painting that feels creative, I have to be willing to dive a little bit into the unknown. And a few years ago, when I received an email from the Blue Walk asking me about leading a plein air painting trip in Italy, the thing that really talked me into doing it was the idea of stretching myself and challenging outside of my comfort zone. Here's another shot that I'd like to paint sometime. I really love that lineup of boats there and their bright colors and how it balances out the scene. Those diagonals at the bottom would be fun to bring into the painting. And okay, we're moving over to another town in Cinque Terre, which is, the name is Manarola. I was really feeling, I have to confess that I was really feeling a little bit frustrated when it came to the second town of the day, because I wasn't super happy with any of the paintings I'd painted so far. I recognized that my unfamiliarity with the subject caused me to paint a little timidly. I hadn't found my groove yet, and I didn't know what to do about that. I was feeling a little bit frustrated, and frustration isn't a bad thing to feel, because when we sat down in Manarola along the edge of this little cliff overlooking the town, I opened up my paint kit to paint, and I accidentally put my thumb in my raw sienna over here, and I scooped up a big chunk of soft, gushy raw sienna with my thumb. And what a mess. I didn't have paper towel with me, but I didn't want to waste that paint anyhow, so I looked at my thumb and I looked at my paper, and I thought, this is a teaching opportunity, an opportunity for me to teach myself how to pivot. And so I took that wet thumb and I scraped into this paper just the beginning outline of the negative space of the town itself, set on that cliff, and I used a little water to move some paint around. I grabbed my gelato spoon. I just finished some delicious gelato. I scraped up a little bit of moon glow, and I started putting in roof lines with that stiff plastic edge, and it felt exciting, like a breakthrough. It was that reckless, take a risk feeling that always charges me up and breaks me loose from that paralysm of perfectionism. Perfect analysis. I don't know. There should be a combination there. Perfectionism that causes us to hold back from really taking a risk. And so this was exciting and fun. I don't think it necessarily is my best painting from the entire trip, but what it broke loose in me, that willingness to remember who I was and be myself on this trip, that happened in this painting, and it was really exciting. I didn't end up using a brush for any part of this painting in the end. I used that gelato spoon, used my fingers, my thumb a little bit, and it was really, really kind of a thrill. And it was contagious. That excitement, that freedom, that little bit of recklessness, it got the whole group excited. And we all sat on that cliff edge and painted as tourists walked past, and made lots of comments, fortunately most of the time in languages we didn't understand. It's funny how when people are commenting on your work in a foreign language, you immediately assume that they're criticizing you. Terrible, terrible. Why do we do that to ourselves? Okay, so here's a second painting that I did with a brush on that same cliff in Manarola. And with that excitement, letting that carry over, I can't decide which of these two paintings I like better, and I don't have to decide. For this one, I got to have some fun exploring the patterns of waves in the water, and I brought in a little bit more green. I just had a little bit more control in this one, and I don't know that that made it more fun, but it felt like I was able to kind of translate what I had learned in terms of excitement here over into my painting process here, and that was really kind of special. Thanks for watching. I'll be back tomorrow with more watercolor advice you can learn from. Don't forget to include the hashtag World Watercolor Month when you participate and post watercolor art in July.